My Country 99.3 WCON, the Oak Ridge Boys, Elvira. That song's going to be ringing through the hall of Bourbon Brothers in Gainesville on February 27th. And can you believe it? I've got 25% of that four-part harmony with me right now, talking about Mr. William Lee Golden with the Oak Ridge Boys. William, thanks so much for joining us today.
Tim, man, it's great to be with you here on WCON here in Gainesville. We're excited to be coming back to Gainesville there.
We're excited to have you back in North Georgia. It's been a little bit. You were here for Christmas, but now we're coming back, and we're going to hear all the hits on February 27th.
Yeah, we're going to sing as many of them as we can, and we'll throw some extra songs in there. We'll do maybe 3 or 4 gospel songs and go back to where we started, you know.
Well,
and we have this young Ben James that's singing tenor with us. I got grandkids older than Ben James, but he's been with us 2 years now.
Let's talk about that, William, if you don't mind. So, you know, you've got the 4 Oaks that we all knew and fell in love with in the 70s and 80s and through the 90s. But when Joe Bonsall passed away, that must have been a huge transition. And from what I understand, the story of finding your new lead singer, I mean, we had Joe's approval on this young man, didn't we?
Yeah, Joe's the guy that actually called him on the phone and said, "Hey, Ben," said, "man, get your singing britches on." Said, "The Oak Ridge Boys need you this weekend, and I can't go out. It's impossible for me to go any further." And so that was in December, first part of December. And then this is 2 years, a little over later, and Ben James has been thrilling audiences every night. We never had a chance to rehearse with him.
Wow.
He knew every song and knew every arrangement, basically. And anyhow, it's a thrill to be on stage with him every night. And some people probably know that our longtime bass singer, Richard Sterban, that's been singing here for like 53, 54 years now, he's been struggling with pancreatic cancer this past year. Yeah. And he's been going through treatments for that. Thank God he's through the treatments, and we're praying for the best. He's was out on stage with the Oak Ridge Boys on the Grand Ole Opry like 10 days ago. Yep. So it was good to have him come out and greet the audience, and also Aaron Lee McCoon, this young bass singer, that's been filling in for him, and Tim Duncan's another young bass singer that's been filling in for Richard this past year. But Aaron Lee introduced Richard on stage and brought him out. He told him, said that the Oaks were his heroes growing up, and that Richard Sterban was his all-time bass singing hero that made him want to be a bass singer, and brought Richard out, and they sang Elvira and the Oom Papa Mau Mouths together there. And
oh, that's great.
Richard would take a look at it, and then he'd nod to Aaron, "You take the next one." So, but yeah, man, when Joe was struggling, Dwayne was having to help him. He was dealing with ALS.
Yes, sir.
That Lou Gehrig's disease, degenerative muscular issue. But Dwayne was having to help Joe on and off stage every night. It was heart-wrenching.
Absolutely.
For us and Joe, and the fans had to be stunned to see it. But that stuff come on him, and it took him a long time to find out what was going on. You know, he kept going to different doctors, the Mayo Clinic, about 4 or 5 times before they said, "Hey, we think this may be what it is." But anyhow, man, it's having these young guys and a whole new generation that's been healing and uplifting to Dwayne and I. You know, Dwayne and I have been singing together. We started singing together 60 years ago this year.
How about that?
And he's one of the great lead singers and a tremendous asset to the Oak Ridge Boys musical library. He works tirelessly finding new songs and working with record producers and labels. We just finished a brand new album that Dave Cobb and Anderson East kind of co-produced. Dave is now a top executive with MCA Records. and he's from Savannah, Georgia originally, but he's winning all the awards, producing Chris Stapleton and
Yeah.
some of those people. Dave Cobb also produces this new group, the Red Clay Strays,
They're incredible.
and well, we've done 6 albums now with Dave Cobb. We just finished a brand new album in December here with Dave, and this is it'll be called Buried Treasures. It'll be out later this year.
Oh,
So
can't
Ken
wait
James
for
is
that.
on there.
Buried treasures. Wow. Is it the name just kind of makes you wonder, are these songs that have been sitting around for a while that haven't been recorded, these treasures that are finally coming to surface, or are they a collection of older songs redone?
Well, I tell you what it is. There's Aaron Ratier. He's one of the hot young writers in Nashville today, writing a lot of hit records for Ella Langley and those type people. Did a duet with her. But he wrote this song called Buried Treasures. That's what Dave Cobb wanted to call the album that. It's a new song that Dwayne sings a lead on it. We harmonize on the choruses. But what we did is we also, Dave wanted us to find some buried treasures of classic songs that we had never sang, but yet we had always admired. He got Dwayne to do Stardust.
Oh,
He got me to do Bridge Over Troubled Water.
Oh, listen, one of my all-time favorite songs. I'm a big Simon and Garfunkel fan, and I know that you've done some work with Paul Simon in the past, too, if I'm not mistaken.
We did Slip Sliding Away with Paul Simon. That's the Oak Ridge Boys doing their ooh.
About that. That's a bit of trivia. Yes. As we talk about the history and the heritage of the Oak Ridge Boys and how it's ever evolving, right? You know, with Richard, with his health battles, and he certainly missed on stage, but we have a wonderful baritone singer up there in his place, and then with Joe not there. But this is what's been going on with the Oak Ridge Boys since what, like the 50s? I mean, you were not an original member. Early 40s.
Yeah, so I joined in 1965 in January, and I replaced another singer.
Yeah.
Gary McSpadden was with them in 62 and 63. And then another guy came for about 6 or 8 months before I pursued to be able to sing if they had another change. And I come to Nashville and talked to the guys about it. They were playing a place here that I knew. And anyhow, I told them, if you're ever in the market for a baritone singer, I'd look to have a shot at trying out for it.
That's awesome.
Well, a couple of months later, I got a call, and Smitty Gatlin called me and said, "Hey, we're in the market for a baritone singer. You still interested in trying out?" I said, "Absolutely."
Can you imagine if you did not ask that? I mean, I'm a believer, if you don't ask, you don't get. And so there you are saying, hey, if you need somebody someday, I'm here. And they did, and they called, and music was changed. History was made.
Yeah. And, you know, I remember as a kid when I was turned on to the Oak Ridge Boys, first quartet I sang in, I grew up singing as a little kid. You know, my sister taught me to play rhythm guitar and sing harmonies. And she would sing lead and played mandolin. She plays piano and mandolin, still plays piano and mandolin. And but she taught me to play guitar, and she needed a guitar player and a harmony singer. And I was 6 and 7 learning to play the guitar.
Wow.
But it was come easy with me because you learn the chords, and then she teach you your part. Your part is this part of that chord. You know, this word is making the chords with our vocal harmonies. And so, yeah, and I tell her all the time now, I said, well, you're the one that gave me my musical foundation that I've been able to see the world, go all the way around the world with, and sing harmonies. And
that must make your big sister smile. That's incredible. Your big sister's the one that got you started with it. And now look at you, a part of the fabric of not just country music history, but American music history, starting off with gospel and then making that leap to country. So the Oak Ridge Boys, primarily a gospel group back in the day. And was it in the 70s when you made the jump to do some country music in addition to your gospel?
It was. It was in 1975 we signed with Jim Halsey to manage the Oaks. He managed Roy Clark throughout his career. And he managed Bell Tillis, and was managing Wanda Jackson and different other big names and big stars in country. But he was a manager and had a booking agent. But he booked the big names and concentrated on television, getting country on television where it had never been. And anyhow, Jim Halsey got us our first country recording contract, and in 76 we recorded, and then in 77 we released the Y'all Come Back Saloon.
Yeah.
And that was our first country. It went right up to number 2 and sat there for about 3 or 4 weeks, right behind the duet that was the father and daughter, the Kendall.
Heaven's Just a Sin Away. I'll bet.
Heaven's Just a Sin Away. So that kept the Y'all Come Back Saloon.
Great song by the Kendalls, but dadgummit, that would have been nice to reach that top spot, but almost.
But it was the third single off of that album, the Y'all Come Back Saloon album. Is a song called I'll Be True to You, a beautiful ballad. That was our first number 1 country single on Billboard. Then we had other albums then. Maybe we had one every year, actually. So that's from 77 till 1981.
Gotcha.
In 1981, a guy in the record business, he saw a band singing Elvira out in a saloon out in Texas. And they were singing Elvira, the old song, Dallas Fraser song, because they were harmonizing with the song. He said, man, the Oaks could do that song and really do it up right. And Ron said, that's a great idea, phoned it to us, and he brought the song to us, the original cut, and told us, he said, I want the high voice to take the lead, I want Joe to take the lead. And then in the chorus, I want Richard to do the step-out lines of Boom, Papa, Mau, Mau. And that actually took it back to the old doo-wop days, the old early rock and roll days with the coasters and the drifters. And you remember, what was it? Why is everybody always picking on me? Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Don't talk back.
That's right.
So
that
those were step-out lines of bass singers.
Like what they used to do on the stoops up there in New York City, right? Or around the street lamp, like the Jersey Boys from time to time.
It's the harmonizing and the group harmonizing. But yeah, that's what it did, and it was actually a reflection. Is what I thought then, and I still think it more now, was that they were influenced by a lot of those old pop group singers too. And so these songs fit that old time feeling.
But William, wasn't Elvira recorded by some other artists? I thought maybe when Kenny Rogers was in the first edition, he might have done it, and a few others. I thought that was a remix.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Dallas Fraser had it out first. He had an album, and they dropped Elvira out. Charlie Rich had it on Behind the Closed Doors album. Kenny Rogers, the first edition, had it on the Something's Burning album. And but no one had a bass singer doing step-out lines on it.
And that's the line that everybody sings. I'm assuming when you come to the hall of Bourbon Brothers in Gainesville on February 27th. The doors open at 6, by the way. Shows at 7:30, everybody. Grab your tickets at thehallga.com. But I'm assuming once you get to that giddy up, bop, mau, mau, you let the audience have a turn or two at that, right? You've got to.
They're going to have to help us sing it. We're going to invite everybody to help us sing Elvira. So
I'll be out there singing along with you.
Better come with their singing britches on.
So much fun. 45 years that song we've been singing along to, and so many hits. I think, 16 number 1 singles, decades on the road. You've been inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame. You've got a lot of big moments. What do you attribute the staying power to? Now, we talked about the Oak Ridge Boys going back to the 40s, and then everybody joining piece by piece till finally you had that four-part harmony that just really struck lightning with Elvira in particular. That's when it became a crossover hit, I'm sure. But what do you attribute your staying power to? I mean, here we are in 2026, 45 years after Elvira. What do you attribute the staying power of the Oak Ridge Boys and their place in country music?
Well, I think it was a love and respect we each had with the Oak Ridge Boys before we joined it. We wanted to make a great contribution to the group and be accepted in the group. And, to do the crossover from gospel music and then get with Jim Halls and him help us cross the river into country music. That was a big deal because some of the gospel people looked down on that, and it kind of puts you in a no man's land there till you got some traction with the Y'all Come Back Saloon, kind of let them know you're serious about wanting to sing country music. And but I think it was the years of struggling, and we had the vision, but it was getting the right people to also see what our vision was. And that was the joy of working with Jim Halls. And he's a visionary guy anyway. But we could share our vision with him, and he could see it and then show us how we could make that even bigger with doing this and this and this, that he would tell us how it could even be better. And so that's been our success. And he's still managing the Oak Ridge Boys. And so we have to look at all the elements. And it's like Dwayne Allen and I. He's a major player here that has helped find the songs, and for 60 years we've been putting out an album almost every year. Yeah. Some years more than one a year, and then singing on other people's albums. So it takes everybody wanting the same thing and playing the part that they can make the greatest contributions in.
You just defined a championship team right there is what you did. That's a championship team. Using a sports metaphor for music, you got everybody pulling on the same side of the rope. Everybody know their roles and perform to the best of their ability in their roles, and you get a legendary group like the Oak Ridge Boys. 4-part harmony. Well, this might be a silly question, and forgive me in advance, but of all those songs, 4-part harmony must be so fun to sing. What's your favorite one? The one in the show that you just can't wait to get to?
Well, there's an old song. I'm not sure will you do it here, but it's one that was never a single. It's got that 4-part harmony thing. It's a song called Dig a Little Deeper in the Well. It was from one of our earlier albums we did. And we used to do it on stage all the time way back then. But it's the lead singer hits a dee, dee, and then each guy hits a chord to make the chord.
Oh, boy.
Another beat, the next voice comes in. That was always a fun one, but songs like You're the One in a Million, it's a group song where one guy will take half the verse, and another guy will take another half, and then the next verse, the next guy will take a half, and we all four get to take half of a verse maybe on some of those songs like American Made. So it's throwing the ball around and everybody respecting everybody else, and what each guy brings is unique to the table, and it's with that raw sound. That's kind of what the Oak Ridge Boys were known for, is that raw power sound of harmonizing. And it's not a timid way of harmonizing. We're 4 Trojan horses headed at you, so.
And boy, you can just feel it when you're in the crowd, and those 4 amazing Trojan horse voices, as you say, coming at you. We've got the Oak Ridge Boys coming to the Hall or Bourbon Brothers in Gainesville, February 27th. Grab your tickets at thehallga.com. Stepping aside the music for a moment, William, I would be remiss if I didn't ask. The beard. I mean, you say everybody brings something to the table in addition to your leadership, your longevity, and that incredible voice of yours. You brought the beard to the table as part of the Oak Ridge Boys brand. So I could be wrong here, but I think I remember years ago I did interview Dwayne, my goodness, probably 30 years ago. And I hope I'm remembering this correctly. At the beginning, when you let the beard go, because you were clean cut at once upon a time, but you let it grow, they didn't like it. Am I right about that?
Well, in the beginning they didn't, but I wore the stubble look there for about 2 or 3 years. That shadowed beard, that little stubbly look.
Yeah.
And at that time, I'd met some artist friends of mine that were longtime friends now, but we're going primitive camping, going to where you got to start the fire with a flint and steel or that type of stuff. And camping in the wilderness, going out there for 3 or 4 days and
Yeah.
kind of stepping back in time, basically, and spending time around a campfire and in the woods. But some of them guys would say, man, won't that beard ever grow? So I think about it because they'd be pretty woolly-looking guys there.
Mountain men, right?
So I bought this old home here. It's built in 1786
Wow.
by a Revolutionary War colonel.
Really?
And it was built 3 years before Washington was president.
Incredible.
And 10 years before Tennessee was a state. And James Franklin was one of the immortal 70 that fought with George Washington that turned the British back. So this place had history, but no one was living here when I found it in 1980. And I had friends, and I got to go and camping with some of them, but I had these mountain man type art in my house here, kind of going back in time, putting some of that around. Yeah, about the first 6 months I was here, I lost my razor, and I still haven't found it.
Wait a minute. So are you telling me that your beard's been growing since 1980?
I have not trimmed it since 1980. It don't get any longer, it just gets whiter.
It doesn't get any longer. So where does it go down to now, William? I haven't seen you in a while.
Well, it's still 20 inches probably. But it's from the bottom of my bottom lip down. It's kind of where you measure a beard.
Right. Well, it looks good, man. It's part of the fabric of country music. It's part of the brand. That beard will be glistening with the lights at the hall at Bourbon Brothers. Before we let you go, I have one more question, William. Here at My Country 99.3 WCON, we play the music that made country great from the 80s and 90s and beyond. Of course, that includes the Oak Ridge Boys. So from your perspective, William, after all these years, what is it that you think makes the music that made country great?
It's songs about life. It's songs about real people. Songs about real feelings. It's songs about people getting out of them in a simple way. It's people have gifts, have so much love and respect for great songwriters. My mother was a poet, and I know how people kind of approach their poetry, and it's and the same thing with songwriters. You're timid and shy about other people seeing it sometimes in the early stages of pouring your heart into something, in the melody of your moods, and you're moaning and groaning, and it's a heartache type song, but it's people that are able to take a guitar or a piano or whatever and sit there and pour their heart out and get it's to them it's most of them aren't going to a therapist. They find a way of getting it out without having to go tell somebody else, but getting it all out in a melody form. And it's a great thing, I know that's a gift that I don't have, and the only time I ever wrote a song, I remember how it came in that form of you feel inspired, and it's something that you got to get out, and that's been all weekend, one weekend, getting all those feelings out and put it in a song. It was putting the word that one of my young sons, he said, left a message on me, and anyhow, it's just when he was 5 and 6, he'd call my number, and if I was busy or something, he'd leave a message. Hey, Dad, This is Solomon. I got my heart on you.
Oh.
And I thought that was so sweet of his way of expressing his love, is I got my heart on you. And it was something that I would keep those messages. And then he's growing up. He's in college, finished his last year this year of medical school. So he's in Texas. His mother is there. Anyhow, man, I'm just so proud of him. And, but he's 24 now.
Oh, but isn't it amazing? That little boy saying, Dad, I've got my heart on you. And that inspired you to write a song. And you were talking about how it's therapy for you songwriters. But remember, it doesn't stop there. For those of us on the other side of the speakers listening to that song that might have been your therapy, it becomes therapy for us as well, too. So it takes on a whole new life. That is the music that made country great. William Lee Golden, legendary Oak Ridge Boys. Thank you so much for your time today, sir. What an honor to finally speak to you after all these years. We're so excited to see you February 27th out at the Hall of Bourbon Brothers in Gainesville.
Thank you, Jim. Great to be right here with you on WCON.
Incredible, my friend. Let me hit stop. Thank you for giving me all that time. I'm so grateful for that. You're so gracious with it. That was phenomenal for me as a fan and have followed you for years. So I've been looking forward to this all day today. So thank you, sir, for being so open.
Well, come on out and visit with us.
I'll be there.
Shake your hand, hopefully.
Let's do it. I'll come knock on the bus door. I'll be there welcoming people. So I'll let you know I'm there. I'd love to take a photo with you and shake your hand.
All right.
Thank you, William.
Thank you.
You be safe.
Yes,
Take care.
sir.
Bye now.
All right. Bye-bye.